I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spend cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for. I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spend cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for. I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spend cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for. I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spend cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for.
What it do? It's your boy, Dragon Ball Art 92. And I'm back with another Kamehameha reaction video. And today we have a good one. So make sure you hit that like button so that way we can trigger YouTube algorithms. So that way we can be seen by a bigger audience. Bruh. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that way you don't miss out on the great content. Let's go. What it do? It's your boy, Dragon Ball Art 92. And I'm back with another BAM reaction video. And today we're going to be doing part 3 of the Moro arc. And last time on the Moro arc, Goku and Vegeta was struggling against Moro. Moro's magic seemed like it was overpowering them at the time. But before we get into the content today, you guys, make sure you hit the like button so we can trigger YouTube algorithm. You feel me? So that way we can be seen by a bigger audience. Also, if you're new here, I want to thank you for coming by and enjoying content with us today. If you're a Dragon Ball fan, make sure you hit the subscribe button and don't forget to hit that bell notification so you can be updated whenever I drop a video. You feel me? Now that we got all that good stuff out the way, you guys, let's get to the content. Ya dig?
Game over.
Now, from here, we've gained a better understanding that Moro really doesn't have to do anything direct in order to take a small portion of someone's energy to get stronger by, because clearly here, this was a prime example of Moro having to take Goku and Vegeta's energy subconsciously and having to use that for his own beneficial gain and getting stronger himself. And as we then move on forward into Dragon Ball Super Manga chapter number 46, the situation then begins to get even more dire for our heroes. As Moro winds up sticking his hand out, he ends up blasting Vegeta back even more. That results Vegeta in getting pushed back further into the landscape, and with Goku having to cry out, "Stop you!" This was the first time that Goku actually went along ahead to make physical contact against Moro, because the minute we get to see how Goku moves on in, Moro winds up cognitively being aware of what Goku's about to do, blocks off his kick, grabs Goku by the leg, and he ends up doing the exact same thing that Broly did in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, as he winds up slamming Goku's body against the landscape over and over and over again, back and forth, up and down, even slamming Goku on over to the side, before then having to toss him away like a complete waste of garbage. It's very clear at this point that Moro does hold the upper hand against our heroes in this current situation, as Moro then uses the planet's energy to completely fry Goku. Goku winds up flying back as he ends up hitting the ground. That's when Goku went along ahead to comment, "Darn it, I'm totally drained," with Moro having to utter, "The longer we battle, the more enfeebled you grow." But then Vegeta winds up bursting up from the ground with Moro noticing this. Vegeta wastes little time in putting his hands together for the Gallic Gun as he went along to cry out, "Take this!" As he then further fired the Gallic Gun down below, Moro then looks up with a very confident look on his face, because Moro knows that this attack is going to be nothing more than food to him, because as soon as Moro winds up opening his mouth, he then begins to suck Vegeta's Gallic Gun directly into...
Bruh. Moro's hungry, bro. He's like a starving child, bro, that haven't had food in like 10 years. The way he gobbled that blast up, bro. No lie, bro. It's like, what's going on here, bro? But how can you defeat an enemy, bro, that can just eat up your attacks, bro? Like, what's going on, bro? Like, seriously. Insane, right?
His mouth as a source of supply, and Vegeta is absolutely taken back, because once again, Moro went along ahead to demonstrate what he can do by having to now consume direct energy attacks as a means of getting stronger. And the minute we then see how Moro consumes the Gallic gun, he then went along to tell them, "While I grow stronger." Damn it, Vegeta says. As meanwhile, back on Beerus' planet, it's interesting to see how the God of Destruction is fishing alongside Whis and having to utter "so bored." As Whis further observes in his own staff, Beerus goes on to question and asking, "What's up, Whis? Planet Namek is exhibiting a sharp decline in energy levels, so I decided to take a peek. Is the planet about to die?" Beerus says. "How exciting! I barely have to lift a finger here in Universe 7, since every so often some planet buster will come along and do my job for me. Cause I'm super busy, clearly." With Beerus having to be shown catching fish, Whis then goes on to ask him, "Didn't you say you were bored?" "Exactly," says Beerus, "so I'm busy killing time." Hey, Oracle Fish, is this your catch of the day? Which ironically we get to see how the
Bruh, Beerus is one of the laziest God of Destructions in the whole multiverse, in my eyes. To be 100% honest with you, bro. And the reason why I say that, bro, he has all the time in the world, even to do his job. And I thought he liked fighting. You feel me? But he has all the time in the world to do his job, all the opportunities, and he just dismiss it with some lazy comment or some lazy ideology or something of "I don't want to do it" or "I'm busy" or something like that, bro. And it's crazy to me, bro. You know what I mean? That's why we never get to see his true battle form. Maybe he's feeling like that because he didn't got to the point of strength to where nobody can defeat him in the universe, which is ironically correct. And if we're going with the storyline right now, but we're not too sure if anybody's going to catch up to him or not, or maybe he's the goalpost that nobody can catch. I don't know. It's quite interesting though. But I like Beerus as a character. Don't get me wrong. But this boy is lazy, bruh. Let's get back to it.
The Oracle Fish, who just so happens to be a fish, is actually fishing for fish alongside with Beerus. The Oracle Fish went along to shout, "This is a fishing contest! You can't use your hands! That's a violation of the rules, so you lose!" And with Beerus throwing the fish back in, he went along to then comment, "Whatever, I'm sick of fishing." With Whis then asking, "Are you content to let the aforementioned matter play out?" With Beerus responding, "Sure. That planet's got no food since the people there only drink water, so not interested." And with Whis responding very well, he then goes back to observe the battle involving Moro, Goku, and Vegeta, which mind you is a testament of how lazy Beerus has gotten, even considering the idea of what just happened following the events of the Tournament of Power. Vegeta and Goku are completely banged up, they're tired, they're injured, and with Goku then having to grab onto Vegeta's arm, he then went along to comment, "I feel bad about the Namekians, but we've got to get back to Maris and the Galactic Patrol." And as Goku then tries to use the instant transmission, all of a sudden he then realizes that he can't. As Vegeta asks, "What is it?" Goku responds, "I can't use the instant teleportation. Not enough chi." As they only then observe how a massive energy ball is headed their way, they both separate as the blast then makes contact on the ground and resulting in a massive explosion that results in both Goku and Vegeta having to be caught in the middle of this, and this is not good because this entire time Moro had been siphoning their energy, they can't transform, and they can't even escape. So you get to see the depth and magnitude of how powerful this attack was, because every residential house that the Namekians were living in gets blown away. The Namekians are trying to basically hold on to dear life, as of course the force and the pressure of this blast causes shockwaves all throughout the battlefield. And as we get to see inside the crater how both Goku and Vegeta are struggling to stand back up, Goku went along to ask, "You still with me, Vegeta?" "Gah, damn it," says Vegeta. With Moro having to hover, he then went along to acknowledge this by commenting,
How are they still living, bruh? They've been drained of damn near all their energy, but they still survive, bro. That shows a lot about the progress their body made through all the fights they've been having, bro. Because there's no way, bro. They drained to the point where even Goku can't use the instant transmission, bro. But they survived that blast. Interesting, bro. But Moro really got the upper hand right now in the fight. He's dogging them, bro. And what I was thinking about earlier is how, man, that's somewhat of I would say a hack, bro. in the whole fighting scheme, bro, because not only do he take your energy, but he got moves, bro, that'll just knock you out of your socks, bro. He putting hands on them boys right now, bro. Let's get back to it.
At last, your resistance ends. This was surprising, as beings such as yourselves did not exist in my era. The only one who stood in my way was the great Lord of Lords, who stole my abilities. And as Moro made his way down, in having to deliver a bone-rattling knee shot to Goku's stomach, you can see the pain that Goku is in, because Moro came down onto Goku with such force and such pressure that as soon as he latched onto Goku's neck, he then went along to tell him, "However, I ought to mention that you two were never a threat to me." As he proceeds to stick his hand out, he uses his gravitational influence to pull Vegeta in and grabbing him by the neck, and as soon as Moro winds up lifting both Goku and Vegeta up in the air, he then went on to tell them, in fact, "I welcome your presence. Why? Because you will allow me to grow even more powerful." To where now at this point we get to see how Moro siphons off more energy, more chi from both Goku and Vegeta, until both of them are shown having to drop right down onto the ground, seemingly dead, on the brink of death. And if Moro were to actually capitalize in finishing them off right then and there, this would have meant the end of both Goku and Vegeta during the events of Dragon Ball Super Manga chapter number 46, page 20. So with Moro having to hold her...
Well, we see who won that fight. And woo, man, these warriors and enemies are getting more cunning, bro, because he's so calm with what he's doing, bro. So evil, so calm, and just confident. And just, man, the fact that he just did him like that, bro, is insane, bro. Kind of remind me of Frieza, but Frieza didn't go this far. You know what I'm saying? Or Frieza couldn't. Another thing, too, they need to learn techniques, bro. Techniques to where they can utilize their energy differently. You know, if they built up their technique game, bro, they'd be insane fighters, bro, Goku and Vegeta. You know, that's the thing that I feel like they're lacking. That's in my opinion, though. You feel me? Let's get back to it.
Energies up in the air above him, he then went along ahead to consume both of their energies as his body then began to transform, and as Moro is then shown visibly getting younger, he couldn't even believe it as he went along to comment, "Incredible, that the energy from a mere pair of beings could restore my flesh to this extent." And as Cranberry makes his way there, he then compliments Moro by telling him, "Wow, great job, Moro. I was sure you can beat them all along." With Moro then turning his head, Cranberry then continues, "All right, I wasn't trying to run away before. I just thought I'd take the chance to just collect the Dragon Balls." With Moro asking, "Surely you realize you cannot deceive me. Well, how would you go about collecting them?" With Cranberry responding, "Well, I can pinpoint their villages with this here scouter. Each village is in charge of one ball. So once you've found the villages, the rest is easy." And that's when Moro went along ahead to look around and having to respond, "The nearby Namekians have begun to scatter." "Oh, duh," says Cranberry. "I forgot that you don't need a scouter, Moro. I sense a number of locations."
You know what I find interesting? Cranberry is trying to manipulate Moro to help him get the Dragon Ball so he can get to safety, but at the same time, Moro is actually utilizing Cranberry to get the Dragon Balls to make his wishes. You know, so it's like two opposites coming together for one common goal. But at the end of the day, since they both have negative mentalities, they're going to end up trading on each other. You know, so it ain't going to go well, bro. It ain't going to go well. It's very interesting, the type of storyline that's going on. It's like a story within the story within the story, bro. That's why I love Dragon Ball, bro, because it's so realistic, bro. It reminds me of real life, what people really be doing out here, bro. You feel me?
Where they gather, says Moro. "Would those be the villages you speak of?" "Probably yes," says Cranberry. "Let us begin with the closest one then." As Moro begins to walk off, Cranberry then responds, "Whatever you say. By the way, are those two good and dead?" With Moro sitting...
Am I the only one that didn't know about this awesome channel, Dragon Ball Art 92? You gotta check it out. You know how I'm always training to get stronger and find new challenges? Well, I just discovered something amazing that you all need to see. It's the Dragon Ball Art 92 channel. These guys have the coolest reactions and discussions about all things Dragon Ball, epic battles, wild fan theories, and even awesome fan-made content. It's like training your brain with super fun Dragon Ball knowledge. So what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and join the Dragon Ball Art family. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on the next big adventure. So, see you there. Kamehameha.
Sitting down and having to respond, those drained of their energy will perish on their own in short order. Their lives no longer concern me, so let us proceed. Okay, says Cranberry, as they then take off. One of Moro's biggest mistakes was actually allowing the idea of Goku and Vegeta to die on their own actually rest, because Goku and Vegeta were in fact about to die on their own accord, but it was due to the Namekians that were around the area that came dashing on in down below to try and help Goku and Vegeta in this situation that they're in, as back on Earth, Bulma gets word that Goku and Vegeta have left, and she's on a hurry to try and get answers because she knows that the Galactic Patrol is behind this, and she's so eager to go on ahead and try to make her way towards them and getting a word as to what the heck is going on, with Hercule having to join her. As we later go back to the Galactic Patrol HQ, we then observe how Maris and Jocko actually end up getting there, with the patrollers having to inform Maris on what was going on. Maris then went along to comment, "I was informed that Majin Buu has awakened. Is that true? Yes. He woke not too long ago. Where is he now?" says Maris. "The mess hall. This way, Agent Maris. Majin Buu is ravaging our food supply. I'll be right there. Agent Iriko, keep the ship ready to depart for Planet Namek at a moment's notice." "Roger that. Hey, you two," says Jocko. "We got the Macarini gang locked up in the ship. I need you to escort them over to the Galactic Prison." As they both then agree, they also went along to inform Jocko that they had a message from a person called Titus. Jocko asks, "A call? From mommy maybe? I hope that she's got the birthday card I sent." "No, it's not your mom. The caller ID shows that it came from a woman named Tights on Earth." And that's when Bulma finally gets a hold of Jocko and having to scream at him by asking, "You made them join the Galactic Patrol? And why would you do a thing like that?" With Jocko telling her, "It was the Galactic King's decision actually, and nobody can defy him." "We're not totally sure, huh? What's that supposed to mean?" Bulma asks. "Listen, if anything happens to my Vegeta, I'll make you pay." With Jocko asking, "Why are you treating me like—"
Hey, bro, one thing about Bulma that I like, bro, she's loyal, bro. She's loyal, real talk. Not just a genius, but loyal, bro. And she's willing to fight for her man. You feel me? You Vegeta fans like myself, man, make you proud, you know what I'm saying, to see how they can stick together like this through all this time, through all the adversities, even though Vegeta's broke, bro, ain't got no job. Let's get back to it, bro.
the bad guy. So this entire conversation basically stems from Bulma and Jocko having to argue because Bulma's trying to get down and finding answers on what the heck is going on, and Jocko himself doesn't seem to know either, other than the fact that they came there just to take Majin Buu in order to help aid them against this criminal known as Moro. But that's when Jocko gets word that in fact Goku and Vegeta are still alive on New Planet Namek, except their life energy seemed to be depleting. We then get to see on Namek how the Namekians took both Goku and Vegeta in, and with Goku being the first one to stand back up and finally regaining some form of consciousness, he then went along to tell Asuka, the little Namekian boy who went along to save him, "Thanks, but you got your energy drained too, so don't overdo it, little guy," with Asuka telling him, "I'm just fine actually. I might not be as good as Dende, but I've got healing powers too. We wanted to help you recover a little as quickly as possible, even if I can't get you to full strength. You two saved our lives, so this is the least I can do." And with little Asuka then shown having to heal Vegeta, Vegeta immediately stands up with Asuka having to tell him, "Wait, you mustn't try to get up just yet." "Oh, it's you," says Vegeta. "I'm Asuka. Thank you for saving me back there." With Goku asking, "What do you know, Vegeta? Looks like we're still alive." With Vegeta then asking, "How long have we been out?" "You've slumbered for 3 full days, says the Elder. 3 days? And what of Moro? What is that fiend up to?" With one of the Namekians responding, "He's already attacked 3 villages. He's probably headed to the Elder's village as we speak." "What?" Vegeta asks. "You mean he's obtained 3 of the Dragon Balls? Gah!" With the Elder responding, "Indeed. 3 of our villages failed to protect their Dragon Balls. he slaughtered them all. But then Goku and Vegeta begin to detect a very dark and heavy presence in the distance, with the Namekians asking, "What is that? Is that Moro?" "Not again," says the Elder, because we then get to see how Moro in fact has an entire village held hostage by using the planet's energy as a means of a barrier to not allow anyone to escape or get inside. Moro is then shown levitating one of the Namekians as he then went along ahead to throw him into the fire. The rest of the Namekians look on in absolute horror, with Moro having to tell them, "Your village is engulfed in flames. There is no escape, so bring me your Dragon Ball." As the Namekians comment,
This right here is kind of common. We've seen this multiple times throughout the series where enemies try to go to Namek and get the Dragon Balls and have all the Namekians pent up and killing them, torturing them, all the normal stuff that the enemies would do just to get the Dragon Balls. But what they should have did, right, was did a little bit something different. Like allowed the Namekians to actually protect in a certain sense to where Moro would have struggled a little bit against them trying to get the Dragon Balls. It would have kind of made something different come into this type of scenario because we're all used to this. You know what I mean? So it would have spiced it up just a little bit. Not saying that it's not good. It's still good. You know what I mean? But it could be better. Anything can always progress in my eyes. You feel me?
like we'd hand it over to the likes of you, and with one simple flick, Moro does the exact same thing by sending yet another Namekian out into the fire, as Moro went along to tell them, "You are all fated to die in due time. It is futile to resist." "You devil," says one of the Namekians, as Goku went along to tell Vegeta, "He started killing the Namekians, damn it! I wish we can help, but I still can't use my instant teleportation." As the Elder responds, "There is hope. We have not been idle for these 3 days." "Huh? You came up with some sort of a plan? We Namekians have a simulation as our last resort." "A simulation? Oh, like what Piccolo and Kami did?" The strongest warriors from every village have been combining, as we then get to see how 3 Namekian guardians are desperately trying to make their way towards Moro, with the middleman having to take the other 2 in and fusing. The Elder then went along to continue, "When several dozen Namekians assimilate, the resulting warrior can defeat any evil that may threaten us. This is how our tribe has protected itself throughout the ages." And as Moro then continues to pose a threat to the rest of the Namekians, only then we get to see how there are multiple Namekians joining in and combining themselves into one force, and they waste little time in making their way ever so closer to Moro, and Moro has his back turned the entire time because he's not concerned, he's not worried about who this savior is, and right before this Namekian savior can actually do anything to even affect Moro to begin with, before you know it, the Namekian fusion is then impaled by Moro, as of course Moro still had his focus on the Namekian villagers. Moro ends up in—
Well, I guess I spoke too soon, right?
Yes.
But bro, he didn't give him no challenge. I meant giving him a challenge, not just instantly getting finished like Mortal Kombat. Finish him, bro. That was a fatality, bro. Bro didn't do nothing, bro. He stuck his arm out like it was a metal pole or something, bro, or like one of them knives, like he was the Terminator, bro. Terminator 2. You know what I mean? I think it was the T-1000 where he make his hands into knives and all type of stuff. He was like, oh, bro, that was a failed attempt, bro. That was a failed attempt. I don't know what they were doing right there. Let's get back to it.
Impaling this Namekian in such a way to where he so casually did it by holding him up in the air and then asking, "Was this your savior by chance?" As he then throws him down, with the Namekian then shown with a massive gaping hole on his stomach and having to bleed out. The Namekians are utterly terrified, as of course Moro then begins to slowly remove the blood from his arms. He then went along to tell them, "Apologies. He was dead before I can even see his face." And that's when Dragon Ball Super Manga chapter number 46 comes to a close, and from this chapter we learn the overall effectiveness of Moro, and from here start to get a little bit of an idea.
Here at Dragon Ball Art 92, we do reaction videos. Dragon Ball everything reaction videos. So if you're a Dragon Ball fan, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so that way you can be updated whenever I drop a video. You don't want to miss out on the greatness here at Dragon Ball Art 92. Let's go.
Idea of how he's going to conduct himself going forward, as of course he begins to regress in age, in getting younger.
One thing I noticed too, right? Moro's getting younger the more energy he absorbs. So it's like he's growing back into time. You know what I mean? He's going from being old to being young. That concept come from a movie that I seen way back in the day. I forgot the name of the movie, but if you remember the movie, leave a comment in the comment section if you know what I'm talking about. But it's quite interesting because I wonder if Beerus can beat him. Like, will any of these powers that he's doing will work on Beerus, or probably not because Beerus has God Key? I'm quite interested to know that, but I'm pretty sure I wouldn't get that type of answer though. Let's get back to it.
And younger, his body having to regain its definition and becoming solid, his beard having to get shorter, his horns having to be sharper. So Moro is acting on his own accord to get these Dragon Balls and made one of the most crucial mistakes a villain possibly could out of plot in leaving Goku and Vegeta unintended to die by their own accord, to die by the hands of Moro, very slowly, by sort of like bleeding out in a sense. But this mistake will ultimately cost him, as we then enter Dragon Ball Super Manga chapter number 47, with both Goku and Vegeta having to now rise from their beds. The Elder Namekian can't seem to believe on what the heck happened, because he felt the Namekian fusion literally die in one shot by Moro, and with Vegeta and Goku shown angry, Vegeta went along to shout, "That fiend! He's grown even more powerful than when we fought. He's probably been absorbing energy from the whole planet, including us," Goku says. Damn it! Meanwhile, instead of fighting back, all we can do is hide like scared rats. As Eska went along to also comment, "If only my powers were stronger." Don't think like that, Goku says. "If not for you, we'd be dead." As one of the other Namekians comments, "At this rate, the village is doomed, and he'll have 4 Dragon Balls." How is he finding the Dragon Balls in the first place? Using the villages, Vegeta says. He's locating each Namekian settlement and attacking them one by one, just like how Frieza and his people went about it. Oh, says Goku, cause Moro can read Chi. But if he's not zeroing in on the Dragon Balls themselves, we should be good. As long as he's in the dark about the final one, as Vegeta responds, "One would hope." "Hey," says Goku, "can you get a message to the survivors and tell them to get away from the villages? Then at least they don't have to die for nothing." "Indeed," says the Elder, "I will let them know. And we'd be smart to suppress our powers for now." "Damn it," says Vegeta, because at this point they have no other choice but to keep a low profile, only because Moro at this point, if he were to find them, will easily kill them. And as we then go back to one of the villages, we get to see how the Namekian people are slaughtered all throughout the landscape, each and every single one of them.
The question that I have, right, is Moro still absorbing energy right now? Or is Goku and Vegeta being zapped of the energy that they're just now getting back? Because if not, then if the little Namekian keeps healing them a little bit by little bit, then they can get strong enough to use the instant transmission to get up out of there. Go get some Senzu beans or something, bro. Some backup or something. But I think Maris and the crew and Majin Buu is about to head towards them. This is about to be interesting. I wonder if they're going to get there in time, or is Moro going to destroy Goku and Vegeta because now they're protecting the last Dragon Ball. This is a little bit different than the last few attempts from different enemies. So I like this. Let's go.
Dead on the ground, with Cranberry having to investigate. He then went along to ask, "Oh, come on, where they stashed that thing? It would have made our lives easier if they just spilled the beans." But none of them would talk. These folks are strange. But Moro begins to look around himself and trying to feel out where the Dragon Ball may be, as he went along to tell Cranberry, "There. Search that structure, Cranberry." "Huh? Okay, yep. I found it, Moro." How'd you know it was right here, though?" With Moro smirking, Cranberry then continues, "Wait, can you detect where the Dragon Balls are?" And with Moro remaining quiet, he then went along to comment, "Excellent. The next one is that way." Off we go, Cranberry. Which, interestingly enough, when going back to Earth, we get to see how Dende and Popo, they're both eerily quiet as Dende searches the sky with Popo asking, "What is it, Kami?" As Dende responds, "Something terrible is happening on my home planet." "You felt it too," says Piccolo. "Oh, Piccolo," with Piccolo responding, "A few days ago, I stopped sensing Goku and Vegeta's chi signatures here on Earth. Maybe they've traveled to planet Namek. Something is definitely happening, and it's not good." And even as we then go back to New Planet Namek, it's very awesome to see how Moro is stalking some of the Namekians as he is in order to get the Dragon Ball that he requires, and as he begins to hover over some of them, it's really epic to see the level of brutality that Moro has to offer. As we then go back to his ship, with 6 of the Dragon Balls in his possession, Cranberry then went along to acknowledge Moro by telling him, "Incredible, Moro. We're really picking up pace," with Moro having to utter, "The final ball is near where we first landed." "Oh yeah?" says Cranberry. "That first village was hiding it all along? Let's go get it," Moro says. And as Goku and Vegeta are shown having to sit up from their beds, the Namekian people went along to restore Goku and Vegeta's gi, as the elder asked them, "Your clothes looked something similar to this, yes?" "Perfect," says Goku. "The symbol was unnecessary," says Vegeta. And with Goku having to look at his hands, he then utters, "Just a little more. With a little more chi, I can use instant teleportation and get us some senzu beans." But then, both Goku and Vegeta begin to then detect an energy signal having to make its way towards them, with Vegeta asking Kakarot, "Do you feel that?" "Moro's on the move," Goku says. "Oh, what? You sense something?" says the elder. "No doubt," Goku responds. "He's flying straight towards us." "Oh no. Do you think he detected us?" "No," Goku says. "That's not it, because there are bound to be other survivors around the planet." "That bastard," Vegeta utters. "Is he somehow able to sense the Dragon Balls directly?" "No way," says the elder, and with Goku quickly having to put on his gi, he then further went along to...
So he got a internal Dragon Ball radar. That's wild. And I think that's a part of Moro's magic. That's why he has the ability to sense the Dragon Balls like that and just pinpoint them where they at. It's quite interesting, bro, because it's like, how can you figure that out without a radar, bro? He is a radar. And Goku and Vegeta need to figure out how to get out of this situation. I know they go face them head to head because they're not scary, no matter what the situation is. But I'm wondering how they're going to figure out getting around this problem when they ain't even strong enough to do the instant transmission. What they going to do, bro? They not even going to survive a minute. But remember, Majin Buu and them is on the way. So I just wonder if they're going to make it in time. Let's go.
To tell everyone, "You 3 stay hidden here." "Well, what will you do?" says the elder. "Gotta meet him head on. No choice." And with Goku stepping out, the elder responded, "But you 2 just barely recovered from nearly dying." "Old man," Vegeta comments, "I need to know something." "What?" "Given that I slaughtered all of those Namekians years ago, how do you feel about me?" Vegeta asks. "You speak of the attack on Elder Suno, no? We do not forget these things so easily." As Vegeta asks, "So you hold a grudge then?" "Grudges and hatred only bring about further conflict. The Namekian people are not so foolish to indulge in such things." "I see. We only wish to preserve peace on our homeworld, nothing more." And with Goku eerily enough having to stand on top of...
Have you ever wondered why noble beings never have strong power levels? That is a interesting concept to me. You know, why are the noble, intelligent, good-hearted people weak? That don't make sense to me. You know what I mean? But that's really how it be. And it's mind blowing. You know what I mean? Because with all the knowledge and wisdom, they should be able to obtain power that at least can combat with other beings in the universe. You know what I'm saying?
a cliff, he awaits Moro with the wind having to blow through his hair because Goku now knows that there is a strong possible chance that he may not make it out of this alive, and with Vegeta joining him, Vegeta then went along to tell him, Kakarot, if you survive, make restoring this planet how it once was your top priority. Okay, that said, it would take a miracle for either of us to walk away from this alive. True, Goku responds, but what other option is there? And with Cranberry's ship having to be shown making its way towards them, that's when Moro observes Goku and Vegeta out in the distance by commenting, "Those two, they live. They were hiding this whole time, huh? Those Galactic Patrol cowards," with Cranberry responding, "Huh? Oh, Vegeta and his pal? I thought they still might be kicking. Those Saiyans are a tough bunch," with Moro responding, "I will not suffer them to scamper about any longer. This time, they will perish at my hands." And with Goku and Vegeta then noticing how they're getting closer, that's when Vegeta utters, "He's caught on to our scent. And he's here." And with Goku and Vegeta then set and powering up, they're looking to go all out in this battle against Moro, but they have not fully recovered because even after Goku and Vegeta begin to increase their power, they seem to still be feeling the after effects of their previous fight because they can't transform any further. And what's really cool about this is once Goku and Vegeta take a second to go on ahead and look at one another and smiling, they would only assume that this was going to be their final moments together as they wasted little time in charging directly at Moro. That's when Cranberry went along to shout, "They're coming!"
Them two got heart though, bro. And they was willing to lay it down, bro. Stand 10 toes down on their principles, on their morals, bro. That's how you got to be in life sometimes, bro. You got to stand 10 toes down no matter what the situation is, bro, because you got the strength inside to do things that maybe you're unaware that you can do. We got a lot of strength within. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that I like about Dragon Ball because it presents an idea that's been left from humanity from a long time, bro. We're not weak. We're strong. Let's get back to it.
And with Moro's ship having to be shown zipping right through, with Goku and Vegeta going right after him, Moro is shown smiling because he's prepared at the overall situation of what's about to happen. With Goku and Vegeta shown intensely going in, that's when out of nowhere the Galactic Patrol ship comes zooming out of nowhere and getting right in between Moro, Goku, and Vegeta, as of course we then get to see how right above the ship, as Moro begins to observe, Maris ends up popping out and getting on top of the ship, and as Maris aims his gun down sight, that's when Cranberry went along to shout, "The Galactic Patrol! It's Maris," says Goku, and Maris quickly follows through by shooting the wings of Moro's ship that causes the ship to go crashing on down in preventing them from leaving the planet to begin with. So as soon as Cranberry's ship is showing going on down, out of nowhere through the ship itself, through the glass, Moro winds up dashing on through and having to be shown up in the sky, with Maris having to respond, "Agent Iriko, bring us up." And that's when Agent Iriko does exactly that and having to follow Moro through, and Maris this entire time is not trying to give away his position. Obviously enough, he's not flying, so he's using the ship as a means of leverage to get to Moro, and as Moro then begins to shoot down at Maris, Maris then goes on ahead to display his agility by also using the rocket boots on his feet to avoid every single one of Moro's attacks. With Goku absolutely baffled, he went along to comment, "Whoa! Maris is getting the job done," and as he does so, Moro is getting very irritated because he's looking to end this galactic cop, but this galactic cop actually ends up getting within the vicinity of Moro by then having to use a small little device on his wrist to shoot out this liquid, gooey-like substance that seems to wrap around Moro, and as we get to notice how Maris then captures Moro by using this liquid-like substance, Goku and Vegeta are absolutely taken back because they were not expecting this from Maris to begin with, and with Moro asking, "What?" he then begins to try to struggle his way out as he then goes on to continue, "What have you done?" But Maris doesn't want to hear it because then he uses the rockets on his boots to further bring Moro back down onto the ground and having to slam him directly down onwards with...
Yo, Maris is something else. Like, he's really getting the upper hand on Moro right now. Moro's pretty tough. Makes you think, like, who is this Maris, bro? He could have took him out the whole time. Like, what's going on here? Or am I just tripping?
Goku and Vegeta looking on, they couldn't believe that Maris was able to actually apprehend Moro for the time being, and with Moro shown struggling to stand back up, he's trying to break out of the gooey substance, and he's screaming, he's clawing, and he's trying to do whatever he could to escape, and with Maris looking on, he then went along to tell him, "We developed this capture device just for pinning you down. You won't tear it apart that easily," with Moro responding, "Curse you, Galactic Patrol!" "Maris," Goku says, "Goku, Vegeta, how good to see you both unharmed." With everyone then reunited, we then go to Cranberry, who seems to get out of his ship, and as he notices that Moro had been apprehended, he then uttered, "Huh? They caught him? Because remember, Cranberry does not want to be caught by Frieza or go back to the galactic prison, and with Goku having to observe, he then asks, "You gonna take him back to the prison like that?" "No," Maris says. "I'm afraid this isn't strong enough to hold him for long. It's just a temporary fix to keep him in place until we found a solution. Now, get him out here." And with the Galactic Patrol ship then having to be shown hovering above, Moro is wondering what the heck is going on as Goku asks him, "Is someone up there? Please hurry, Agent Jocko. This restraint won't hold the perp forever." And on the ship, we get to see how Jocko's trying to do everything he could to get Majin Buu off the ship as he went along to comment, "Move your butt. It's your big moment, guy. Come on, your gargantuan gut won't fit through the door." As only then we get to see how Jocko finally manages to get Buu out of the ship, and as Buu winds up slamming down on him, Goku went along to shout, "Huh? Boo's here? You brought him along, Jocko?" With Jocko responding, "Get him off me! And wake up, you!" "He hasn't awoken yet," Vegeta utters, with Jocko having to push Buu and having to tell him he woke up earlier. The big guy just got motion sickness over the trip here. "Hey, Eriko, learn to drive, why don't you?" So everyone is trying to do the best they can to get Majin Buu to wake up. The Saiyans seem to be shocked, but then that's when we observe how Majin Buu then goes on ahead to sit up, with Jocko responding, "You're up. Great. Now hurry up and seal off that baddie's magic powers." With Vegeta having to ask, "You mean to say that Buu accessed the memories of the Great Lord of Lords?" With Jocko responding, "Yep, our organization's got a galactically licensed medium, hypnotist, and therapist. Bringing back old memories is a niche." But then we notice how Jocko is beginning to push Buu forward. He then went along to tell him, no, not that way, dummy. Moro's over there." And as soon as Majin Buu then turns his head, he utters, "Moro?" And Moro is extremely focused because he's never seen Majin Buu before, but Buu knows exactly who Moro is, as Buu comes.
Uh-oh, this about to get interesting, bro. So Majin Buu is tapping into the Lord of Lord memories. So he's becoming more of the Lord of Lord at this point instead of the Majin Buu. So, but both of their abilities together is going to be insane. They both got magic on magic. You dig it? Man, this has been a pretty good episode so far, man. And we're going to go ahead and end this stream right there today, you guys. But yeah, I want to see what Majin Buu will be able to do, if they gonna really be able to apprehend him. But Maris, something is up with Maris, bro. He's stronger than what he's portraying, bro. Like, honestly, you know, because that boy got skills. And if the Saiyans learn more techniques, bro, they'll be more of a force to be reckoned with throughout the multiverse, you know, because it's not always about power. It's about how you use that power in order to win certain situations. So it's really about being smart. You feel me? But all is mind. The universe is mental, you know. I want to thank everybody for coming by and checking out the content today. It's been a great session today. I appreciate y'all for always coming through and checking me out. And like I always say, believe in yourself, because ain't nobody else gonna do it, bruh. Dragon Ball Art 92. I'm out, y'all.
Game
Peace.
over.
I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spend cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for. I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spend cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for. I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spend cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for. I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spend cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for.